Welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel for a Gameweek 6 preview. Today I'm joined by FPL expert FPL Salah to have a look at the upcoming game week. It's getting tough now, Abdul, right? Lots of things that we want to do. People heading towards potentially looking at a wild card. Lots of Chelsea players and Man United players in our team still that we aren't too keen on. We need your advice. An FPL expert like yourself with such a good rank history, we need your advice. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, not too bad. Had probably one of my worst game weeks, in all the years playing this game in terms of game week rank anyway. So yeah, hoping for a better week this week. But looking at my team, I'm not panicking. I've not once considered using a wild card, and I've got 2 free transfers, and I really like my team actually going forward. So yeah, I think it's going to get exciting this week because there's so many options. I think it's finally starting to kind of open up.
Yeah.
Kind of move away from the same template team everyone's got.
Exactly. You know what, let's not dwell on last week. Normally we have a little look back at the previous week, but everyone pretty much had a bad week. I did just want to say though, that even if you had a terrible week, compared to the majority of other managers, you've lost 10, 15 points maximum really. I mean, a good score was 45 to 50. So if you're in the high 20s even, it's not the end of the world. The big swings are going to come later on in the season. Do you agree with that, Abdul?
Yeah, because nobody went ballistic. There wasn't one player, from the template. I think Haaland was the main one, who got his goal. Those who had Alvarez and Salah, done well. But in terms of captain, everyone had Haaland, or some had Son, and none of them done particularly well. So yeah, you could say it was a good week to have a bad week.
I think so. Now, with that all being said, let's have a look at your team for the upcoming game week. Give me your initial thoughts here. Transfers, money in the bank. Just what are you thinking? As I mentioned, looking at the Chelsea players in your squad, United players. Let's start there, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of my United players, they're going nowhere right now. I just think they've been bad, but look at their fixtures coming up. They've got Burnley, Crystal Palace, Brentford and Sheffield United in the next 4. And honestly, I do think when Amrabat gets into that team, that'll really help them, both going forward and going back. And, even if they are terrible, they're not like a bottom 5 team, okay? Let's just say the top 10 at the moment, the way they're playing. You'd still back a top 10 team against those, 4 games that they've got coming up. So right now, I think the United assets are fine, but that's also kind of due to my other assets and what other moves I'm thinking about making this week as well. I think I've got other kind of priorities. I mean, I've got Jackson and Chilwell there. I mean, we got Chelsea for the great on the fixtures, right? They have got amazing fixtures. The next 3 are still good. And honestly, I still think, it's a good move if you want to keep your Chelsea assets for the next 3. However, in my position, for example, let's start with Jackson, right? The only move I think is viable for me to move Jackson out for is Alvarez, who's got Nottingham Forest at home next, and then Wolves. So I think that's a move which I'm thinking of. Not set on it at all, but I do think that is a kind of justifiable move. I don't really see any other forward that we can move Jackson onto, to be honest. I mean, he's been frustrating. He's got 4 yellow cards. We talked about this last week as well, Jack. He gets 1 more now and he gets suspended. So it is a worry. But of course, his stats are still looking good. So it's one of those where, is he going to do this whole season where he's going to put up good numbers and just not perform, or is he going to start performing again? We don't know. I would be, in the camp where I think he will start performing again soon. So that's one move I'm thinking of, Jackson to Alvarez. Chilwell always, was benched, but then I seen Pochettino's comments after the game. He was saying that, he wanted to play Modric in that position because he wanted a bit more attacking threat and he wanted to keep the same back 4. So obviously I think that kind of tells us that on the left wing he's going to be competing with Modric. But then he was also quite critical of Modric's performance in that game as well. Saying he had a lot of learning to do, etc. So to me, those comments for me gives Chilwell at least 1 more week in my team. Because I think he's got a good fixture. Aston Villa at home. And Saliba, for example, he's got Tottenham, Man City, and Chelsea in the next 4 games. Yeah. So I can probably play him this week against Spurs. Not a good fixture. They've got Bournemouth in Gameweek 7, which it's a good fixture, but then they've got City and Chelsea. So for me, I'm kind of looking at the moment either Jackson to Alvarez or Saliba to Botman. I could also even do. At the moment, I've got the exact money for Chilwell and Saliba to Botman and Trippier as well. I'm not too sure about using the double transfer, though, when Luton have got a double game week in game week 7. I'm not sure yet whether I want Morris in there or whether I potentially even want a goalkeeper. So I want to keep that option open, having 2 free transfers going into game week 7. To kind of keep my options open on the double game week. But right now, that's kind of where my head is at. So Jackson to Alvarez, or Saliba to Botman, or even getting the double Newcastle defence in.
Yeah, I agree with you on Jackson. I don't know. I don't think it's like a super hard sell because I don't think there's a like even with Alvarez. I mean, he's playing number 10. He drops in quite a lot. Obviously, he's a great player.
Yeah, I mean, he's a reverse OAP. He's a forward,
exactly
playing as a. But the thing is, he's got the minutes. Like that's the main thing. And Bernardo Silva got injured as well, so
exactly.
He's played 90 minutes in 4 games this season, and in one game against Fulham, he got 8 to 9 minutes. So the minutes are there. And I think he'll continue to get good minutes despite the Champions League game as well. Despite Champions League starting as well. But that's why I don't think it's a hard. He's not a hard buy, but at the same time, Jackson is a hard sell. So I mean, it's tough. I mean, if you get early team news on Saturday that Alvarez is starting, it's going to be hard to give that Nottingham Forest fixture. But let's see.
I mean, to be fair, at this point, we don't, as you said, he is pretty much nailed. We don't even necessarily need the early team news. Obviously, it's City, but I mean, as you say, he's played almost every minute this season. It's kind of mad. Yeah, Jackson, for me, the tipping point is the fact that he is on 4 yellows, and Villa at home, I think it's going to be a really tough game. I would put them as favourites for that game. I think they're playing well. Chelsea look pretty toothless, and I can definitely see him get another yellow. And then, even if you want to hold him for the Fulham and Burnley games, 1 yellow in the next 2 games, he's missing one of those games, so it's not really ideal. Chilwell is the one that I want to ask you about. So, are you happy to start him this game week, thinking he comes back in that left mid spot? Then,
I do, and I think I just think he starts because kind of Pochettino, he tried that formation. He tried that tactical setup without Chilwell. Clearly wasn't happening. It didn't work. And those comments made about Mudryk after kind of tells me that he might just come back with Chilwell in at left wing. Obviously, kind of going forward long term, that's worrying because that gives his minutes it decreases his kind of expected minutes. Could even come off, like he's already been subbed a few times near the 60-minute mark.
Yeah.
Which is quite worrying. So that could happen again. But I just think with the fixture, and I think with not even like next week's fixture, but obviously game week 7 and 8 where they've got Fulham and Burnley, I think it is. Yeah, Fulham, Burnley. So I mean, if he starts Villa, does well, then you can potentially keep him for the next 2 as well. But I just think I can sell Saliba this week because I don't think I'll want to play him in the next. I'll play him once in the next 3. And if worse comes to worse, and Chilwell is benched this week, then I can move him on. In game week 7 to a Newcastle defender. When they've got Burnley at home. So that's kind of, I think from that kind of point of view, he's a good keep, I think.
Yeah, fair enough. And then your thoughts on Son. Obviously, your transfer in last week, as he was for a lot of people in the community. Do you think that I don't know, I don't want to say like kind of went wrong or got unlucky there or whatever, or more, I want to hear your thoughts going forward. Now that you've got through, that easier fixture on paper is gone, you're looking at Arsenal away, Liverpool at home before you then get to Luton. Is there a little bit of regret there perhaps, or now thinking these are 2 tough games, or is it more that against these sort of attacking teams you might have chances?
No, I mean we knew, obviously we knew Son had Arsenal and Liverpool before I bought him in. I knew that, and I knew the way Spurs were playing, that those fixtures weren't as bad as they seem on paper. So I'm happy with Son. Wasn't happy obviously with the circumstances, because not only did he blank, it was like one of the best fixtures of the season. I captained Son as well because I thought it was worth making that move because there was a lot of upside there. Took outside Haaland, and it was not only that, is that Richarlison came on and got a goal and assist and won the game. So
so typical.
So is Son going to go back to left wing? Who knows? But I think whatever happens, I'll keep Son. For the 2 tough games. And then again, they've got Luton in a few more good games. So I'm going to keep him. Also, in hindsight, I should have made, because I think last week I said as well, the move I was looking at was Saliba to Trippier, and then I was really kind of it was more like a head over. The head was saying Trippier and the heart was saying Son. So I went with Son this week, but then it didn't work out. But I don't think it's a disaster. I just calculated it. I lost 6 points on that overall. If I went for my original move of bringing Trippier in, could have been a lot worse though, because Haaland, racked up an XG of like 2.24, and
Mental.
oh god, I was watching those highlights thinking, just thanking my lucky stars that he didn't have his shooting boots on that day, because it could have really been another 20-pointer like it was against Fulham. But yeah, in terms of Son, happy with him. I'm going to stick with him. I don't think he's like a fire to put out. I just think he's got those two tough fixtures. I think he can do well. I will be really annoyed though if he goes back to left wing and the Charlton starts playing again.
Well, I mean, now with Perisic being out for half a year, there's only really Solomon that can play that left wing spot. So who knows? But it could also be Richarlison that comes into the left mid spot. Less pressure on that position, perhaps, to get involved in goals and assists. Who knows what's going to happen there? But yeah, I mean, it's one of those that we were pretty confident that Son would stay number 9 for a good few games. Yeah. Now, I guess less so. Let's have a look at your AI recommended transfers now, because for the first time really this season that I can think of, well, I mean, when you're mentioning the sole transfers that you've mentioned in this video, that the AI just completely backs up what you're saying. So according to the AI, recommended transfers are Saliba and Chilwell both out for Trippier and Botman. I will mention with Chilwell, the minutes now being completely up in the air, it's made his predicted points come down quite a lot, because if he's only playing 60 minutes and they're not even starting, and we're thinking now if he's seen as a left midfielder, then obviously more competition, they're not nailed to start. That's why he's come down, but still, you've got to be kind of happy with that. Trippier and Botman in are the suggestions.
I'm impressed with that, because I wasn't expecting, the AI to do those moves. I think they are the most sensible moves if you think about it. Looking at Newcastle's fixtures, and I think it's inevitable that I'm going to eventually have a double Newcastle defence. And obviously, I think with Alvarez, I think the thing with Alvarez is that he's also been like kind of overperforming on his stats.
Yeah.
That's not to say he's a bad option. As I said, he's getting the minutes. He plays with the best attacking team in the league with, alongside Haaland. So he is naturally probably going to overperform on his stats. Not as to the extent he is at the moment, but he will. But yeah, I think the sensible moves are, either bring in just the one Newcastle defender or bring two of them in.
Yeah, it's one of those where everyone might be scrambling to get rid of Jackson and get Alvarez in, but in reality, are there more pressing issues in your squad, or room for more points potential over a longer period of games? If you look at Trippier versus Saliba here, he's massively outscoring him over the next 4. And Botman, even if Chilwell was more nailed on with minutes, he would still be outscoring him in 3 of the next 4, even with that bump up. I mean, now with the expected minutes lower, it's a huge win for Botman.
Yeah, I just think with what I'm trying to do is just take advantage of, hopefully Chilwell starts the Villa game at home, and then bring in Botman or Trippier for Burnley. So, but yeah, I mean, the sensible move is that we really don't know if Chilwell's going to start. I think we can be fairly certain that Jackson does, which is why it's not asking to move Jackson, but Chilwell might not. And we know Botman and Trippier are nailed to start as well. So yeah, it's food for thought.
Perhaps those are the sensible moves, but I mean, personally, I'm looking at Jackson. I'm thinking he's got to go. I know he's going to start, and yeah, who knows? It's a home fixture.
It's just been so frustrating. I think this is an FPL. Sometimes you kind of got to put your emotions to the side. And
it's true. Yeah.
But it's so hard though. He's just like, I really just want to get rid of him because I'm angry at him. But
yeah,
is it the right move? I'm not sure yet.
All I'll say from watching the games is that I do think he's suffering now from a lack of confidence. His finishing, despite getting chances, is poor. Even when he hit the post, it was a scuff shot that, to be honest, was quite lucky to hit the post. And apart from that, really, in the last game, I didn't see too much from him, which filled me with any sort of confidence that he was going to return. So, yeah, for me, I think he's going to be gone, but I do have the Newcastle defenders in place anyway. But there we go. Those are your recommended transfers. And as always, guys, if you would like to see your own personalized recommended transfers for your team, the link to do so is down below. I mean, look, even if you're not sure what you're going to do with your team, or if you have some sort of idea, it's a really good sort of gauge for whether you're going down the right sort of track, or if not, it will give you some sort of other idea as to what you could potentially do. So there we go, Abdul. That's going to do it for this video.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very interesting to see whether you just get sick of a player like Jackson and say he's got to go, or you hold back a bit, you chill out. Despite the price drops and price increases for Alvarez as well, I mean, Does that come into consideration for you?
No, I don't think that would really impact too much unless it was pricing me out, which is not. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to wait. I'm happy to wait until Saturday morning.
Well, fair enough. Obviously, moves not locked in. If you do want to see the final moves, last week, for example, they changed quite close to their deadline for quite a few of our guests on the channel. Then the link to see Abdul's final team reveal posted on Saturday morning is down below as well on Fantasy Football Hub. Abdul, thank you very much as always.
Thank
And
you,
guys,
Jack.
I will see you with the next Game Week 6 preview.